Hi, friends. Welcome to the Plain Fun RC channel. I'm your host, Saul, and we are going to be building the brand new HSD Jets 747. It's 118 inches long with 110-inch wingspan. What's so great about this is that there is no glue needed. That's the amazing thing about it. So I'm going to take you all the way through it from beginning to end. So more to come. All right, friends, we're going to start off with our nose here, and we're going to be connecting it to the front of the fuselage here. So what we're going to be doing is we need to make sure we have our instructions, as you can see right here. I'll bring them up a little closer. They were not in the box, but I was able to contact HSD Jets, and they did arrive. So we need to grab some of our carbon fiber rods. You can see here on the photo how you've got the rods that connect, that go through and connect the two halves of the fuselage right there. Might be a little tough to see. Sorry. There we go. That's better. All right, friends, as we continue our update here, we have our two carbon fiber rods. These are the rods that are going to be used to attach the nose to the midsection of the fuselage. And they are 380 millimeter rods. So they just simply get inserted. There's two holes right here. They just get inserted right in here like this. Boom. And this one over here. And that's it. So now we're going to take our front hatch off, because remember the midsection has two hatches. We'll take that off here. There we go. And we're going to need to take that off because there are two screw holes. Let me see if I can show you on the camera. You can see the connector. There they are. You can see the holes there. So we're going to take our screws, and it comes with a lot of screws. We're using a 6 millimeter, and it's 95 millimeters long. And we're going to slide this front fuselage onto the tubes that are here. And hopefully these are aligned properly. There we go. Very nice. And then this should just slip right in there. Boop. Wow, look at that. Look how easy that is. Fantastic. All right, let's take one of our screws. And looks like you're probably going to need a fairly long Allen screw. No, actually, no, you won't. It's actually really accessible. So there's one on the bottom. Now, all the bags are nicely labeled. Let me show you right here, if I may. So you can see we've got our screw bags. And if you look very carefully, you can see every bag has its own label, which is really nice. Makes life much easier. And the instructions even indicate which screws from which bag you should be using. And it's my understanding they give you extra screws as well. So in the event that you lose one, you've got another one you can work with. Okay. Good. All right. That's it. Now there's connectors that need to come through here from the nose, and that's these right here, so don't forget to pull those through. All right, we're going to go ahead and shift our focus to the rear of the fuselage. And we're going to start off by putting the horizontal stabilizers in place. So let's go ahead and grab the rear part of the fuselage right here. Okay. My shop is getting quite cramped with the airplanes. I have quite a few. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we need our 270 millimeter tube for the horizontal stabilizer. These hatches are just perfect. They're wonderful. All right, 270 millimeters. I bet you it's probably this. Keep a good tape measure nearby. And yep, that's it right there. Okay, so we're going to take our left horizontal stabilizer, like so, and that's going to get inserted, the rod's going to get inserted into there first, back here. And then we're going to put that, of course, in the left side, left rear of the rear part of the fuselage. Pass our leads forward as well. So you want to be careful as you're putting this in. Your leads go into the fuselage, servo leads. Okay, and then we've got to get the right horizontal stabilizer. This is a very, very large plane. I am thoroughly impressed with the engineering that went into it. It is nothing short of stunning. This goes in here. This also goes here, like so. Once you don't get to pass your lead through, and here we go. It's a little tricky. Not too bad. Just trying to pass the tube through. And get the lead through. That's the tricky part. All right. See, there's one lead. Trying to get the other one to go through. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we're doing, folks, we're putting it in like this. One overlays over the other. This one goes over top of this half here as you're bringing it together. And let me see if I can go ahead and get that in there. Oh, I see, it's a little off. I don't think so. No, just a little tight fit. That's all it is, really. Okay. Yep, there we go. Oh yeah, that's a very tight fit. So what we're looking for to make sure that the fit is correct is if you look very carefully at that little rectangle there, that is how you know you've got a good fit, because what's happening is that that's where the rudder is going to pass through. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. It's a tight fit to get it on, folks, but once it's on, you can see. So let me get out of the way here. I apologize. You can see it's a good fit, okay? All right, now you could obviously leave these on, you know, because this piece in and of itself could still fit in the back of your car. Let's go ahead, now that we've got that in place, let's make sure everything is passed through where it needs to be. Okay. All right, so we have to connect our leads. There should be some connector in here somewhere, which will allow us to connect our leads. And there is. Okay, so inside the fuselage here, as you'll see, is a, get my hand out of the way, is a long wire, and there's 3 leads on the end of that wire. And one of the leads is for the, 2 of the leads is for the horizontal stabilizer. So we've got to make sure to pass that wire through the back. And all we need to do is tip it back a little bit like this. There is a very, very long wire right here, as you can see. And that's where the leads are attached to. So we just need to do some fishing and get it passed through the back. I know once these are plugged in, you don't need to worry about it after that. That's pretty straightforward. I mean, you don't have to keep plugging them in over and over again. You can probably just leave the tail surfaces in place. Here it is. There you go. Yay, got it. All right. Put this up here. Let's see if we can get everything plugged in. Now, it doesn't say right elevator or left elevator. It just says elevator channel. So I'm hoping this won't make any difference, no matter which one you plug in. But I guess we'll find out. All right, very good. So you can see, let me bring it up to the camera again. You can see how you've got your leads right there and how they plug in. And you want to make sure you're putting it through that portion of the fuselage, not the rear hole. Okay, that's important. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to grab our rudder, because that's the next thing that goes in. So this, the horizontal stabilizer uses 2 different types of screws, one in the rear and one in the front to hold it. So let's grab our horizontal stabilizer, our vertical stabilizer, excuse me. Okay, so this is really neat. Let me show you the horizontal stabilizer here. So if you take a look at how it's designed, these actually get inserted, these posts here, if you will, they get inserted into that square rectangular portion of the fuselage. Very brilliant. And you can see on the end here how they're threaded, which I think is fantastic. That makes it nice and easy. So let's go ahead. We want to make sure we connect our servo lead accordingly. Okay. Brown to black. Very good. All right, that's plugged in. Now we need to fit our leads in there. Our leads pass through. Hopefully, we can do this without any disruption. Now, I see one bit of a problem. Okay. The leads are kind of in the way for one of the slots. This is the trickiest part of the whole process. Just getting the leads to pass through so they're not in the way. So my suggestion so far is to, yes, leave these surfaces attached. There are slots here on the side to pass the leads through, but it is like trying to herd cats here to get them to go through. We're going to tip this up. I'm going to try doing it like this instead. Let's see if gravity can help us get this problem fixed. So the problem is the leads, if you don't pass them through, they wind up going through and getting in the way of these little stalks here, or posts, or whatever you want to call them. Whoop. All right, this is a real pain in the butt. All right, so the problem we're running into, folks, is, and I'll show you some, see if I can get close. close up on the camera for you. Okay, the problem we're running into, you slide this up, you look carefully, you can see the leads in that front portion are just in the way of the hole, and that is a real pain in the butt. I do hope they will work to rectify that problem, because that's not good. I mean, I can't even insert the horizontal stabilizer. Or the vertical stabilizer. I keep saying horizontal, vertical. All right, you know what? We need to put this to someplace where I can get at these leads, because this I thought maybe gravity might help. Gravity's not helping. It's actually making things worse. All right, friends, we had to get a stand to get this taken care of. So now we should be able to get at the leads. All right, so the leads are partially passed through. Let's see if we can get them all the way through. Okay, so I see that there. So what I'm trying to do, folks, and I'm sorry I can't show it to you, is I'm trying to get these leads to pass through these channels on the side, and we've got the lead here, which for the rudder, which needs to be pushed to the side as well, because it's in the way. They really passed. The way it comes out the bottom of the rudder, it's like in the most inopportune spot. It's really just the worst spot imaginable that you could possibly put a lead, because it just winds up putting the lead in smack dab in the exact location where this post is supposed to slide in. So that is really not well thought out. I'm not happy about that, but that's okay. It's not horrible. We will figure it out. Just gotta get these other leads to the side. That's the biggest thing. All right, so we're gonna try a little tape here. Little tape to help hold the elevator. The biggest thing is the elevator leads are blocking. We're gonna try a little tape, a little good old packing tape. There we go. To see if we can hold those leads in place, so I can pass the post through. So what happens is they forgot to create a channel for the lead coming down from the rudder servo, and that stinks. That really stinks, because that puts this thing smack dab in the way. Puts it smack dab in the way of the rudder. But we're going to try our best. Let's see what we can do. Maybe we can make some magic here. I don't know if it will work, but we'll give it a shot. There we go. That's something going. All right, well, there we go. Seems to have worked. Yeah, I think we got it. Huh. There you go. Yay! Actually, let me flip it this way so you can see what I'm doing. Do it that way. There we go. And now you can see we've got our screw hole up there, and let me go get a proper Allen wrench for this. Screw hole is right here. Okay, as you can see, and we're just going to insert it right in here like that. And it should work. Should be able to get in without any problem. We won't tighten it down just yet. We're going to do the rear. And the rear uses a 35 millimeter. That gets inserted right here, as you can see. The only complaint I have is the tape that they used to sort of cover the seam of the center sections being joined. It's joined like this, rather than a clamshell. The other halves are joined together. The tape is not great. It's just kind of lifting up. It's not, you know, I expect a little something of a higher quality. They could have used some filler, to be honest with you, between the halves. That would have worked a little bit better. But hey, it's a foamy. You have to remember this is a foamy. So, you know, don't expect high quality. That's it. So that's all there is for that. That's in place. So our rear control surfaces are done, which is nice. Okay, now, make sure everything is copacetic. Good enough. Yep. Everything looks good for the most part. Now the lead for the, the lead for the elevator got stuck in the hole when it went down. So I got to get in there and fix that. All right, we got to take the horizontal stabilizer out, or the vertical stabilizer, excuse me, because the lead for one of the elevators got stuck in the hole. Let me see if I can show you real quick. All right, folks, so you can see that there's that lead there, and we're looking at the fuselage is tilted on its side. That lead is actually, that's the stalk, that white center block. That's the post, if you will, for the vertical stabilizer. So it needs to come out so I can reposition the lead, because you can see it's just getting pulled on. Anyway, we'll do that real quick. All right, friends, we were able to fix it. What we did is we used some good old extra long forceps. We just had to lift the rudder, the vertical stabilizer up a little bit, grab the wire, lift it out, and then everything's great. So, but as I said before, we're not going to take these surfaces off. Once they're on, they're on. That's it. Remember now, what's interesting, the way it's designed, what I think is so cool, those posts that you saw on the vertical stabilizer, they pass through an open square that is on both of these halves, these horizontal stabilizers. So that's what keeps these in place. You're not using the screw to hold these in place at all. It's the actual vertical stabilizer that holds the horizontal stabilizers in place. Very ingenious. All right, so that's it for that piece. We're going to turn this upright for the time being. That is one massive rudder, as you can see, in relation to my head. So now we're going to be putting in the tail section with the middle section. And we are going to be using 680 millimeter carbon fiber rods. So we're going to insert this. Let me scoot this back a little bit so you folks can see that on camera. Once again, we got the holes up front for our carbon fiber rods. We just insert right in here, like so. And the setup's the same. You're going to pass a couple bolts through. Looks like we're using 3 bolts this time. 2 up top, 1 on the bottom. And we don't want to forget to pass our leads through. So this is going to be a bit tricky. I think the best way to do this is to put the main fuselage here, because this thing is so big. It's a real pleasure, though. I got to be honest with you. I love big planes. All right, let me set this aside for a moment. Oops, Jesus Christ, going to crash it before I ever take off. Let's set this aside for a moment. Set this here. Put this up a little bit. There we go. Oop. Now we got it. All right. Up a little bit more. Let's make sure everything nice and straight. Oh, ooh. There's a hatch here, so this hatch has to come off anyway in order for us to get at the 3 screw holes. So we're going to wind up inserting the screws, looks like this way, from what I can tell. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. It's a really nice mix of plywood and foam, just a really nice touch. That's what they did here. We're actually going to put a little bit of a weight on the back of here to keep this from falling over, stick a nice blanket. There we go. Yep. A couple blankets maybe to help hold this so it doesn't lift up. Now if I had a longer stand going this way, I wouldn't need to do this. But we're going to do that anyway. All right, let's grab the tail section and work my way around this section. Oops. Discovered I have so many airplanes now that I'm having a storage issue. So, I say if that's my biggest problem in life, oh well. Life is good. All right. So this would be easier. I know I could just walk from behind and slide it in, but let's see what we can do here. All right. Oops. They're in. Now we don't want to forget our lead. Get that through. Real important. I do love how they combined all the leads into just one plug. It just makes it so much easier. But you can see how well this just slides together. Give it a good firm push. And that's it. Ta-da! Now we'll get some screws and then that's all done. I really do commend them for recognizing the importance of having to split the fuselage. So we're doing 95mm screws. God, this thing is beautiful. Man, I'm telling you. And of course, be careful not to over tighten. Last thing you want to do is strip any of these out, any of these screws or anything. It'd be nice to see them though offer it in different colors. Don't get me wrong, I mean they do have the Air Force One. And actually if you order one from All-Star Models in Australia, they do have one of their Australian carrier versions. They also offer it in a white version. So if you're looking for someone to do a special livery, or design or whatever it is, you don't have to worry about the additional weight of a pre-existing design like you see here. So it saves you some weight, and having the white saves you some prep time too as well. All right, very good. That's it. Fuselage is together, and put our hatch back in place so we can admire the beauty of this monster. And I mean to tell you, man, this is, I am jumping out of my skin with excitement right now. I want to do a dance. Anyway, so there we go. That's the fuselage. I think I can take this off. Yep, there we go. Wow, that is big. That is insanely big. But you get the gist of it, you know, give you a really good idea just how big it is. It is, I'll put it to you this way, if directly above me, the Hanger 9 Ultimate, and that is a 110-inch fuselage. That's the biggest I have. The Pond Racer that you see back in here, you might see in the shot, that is, goodness gracious, I want to say that has got to be almost 100 inches long. But this one's 110. But I think what makes it look so much longer is the narrow fuselage. And it is just a beast. And it is gorgeous. But if you're lucky enough to have a trailer, you can leave this thing together and take it right out. All right, let's go ahead. Let's see what's next on our instruction manual here. As we're continuing on, we're going to go ahead and move on to installation of the left and right wings and outboard engine sets. So we're going to put our nacelles on our wings. Maybe we can sort of slide this back somewhat. There we go. All right. So what's so great about the wings here is you can see how we've gone through, we've got our ESC lead, we also have our leads here for the motor itself, well, for the battery portion of the ESC, that is, to power the motor. So that's nice. And then we already have our holes there. So this is going to be super quick and super simple. Hopefully, as long as Murphy's Law doesn't come into play, but we should be fine. The nacelles have different lengths. So you want to keep that in mind. Look, if you can see right there, how this one has a longer, I'm not sure what part you'd call this, the mount, whatever it is, than the other one. Okay, so keep that in mind. More than likely, the longer version is probably going to be for the center wing section, because it's a much longer cord from the leading edge to the trailing edge. So let's set this one down, the longer version, and let's go ahead and put on our shorter version. Now, there doesn't appear to be a left and a right on this, but there is a KLM, which is here. So I'm assuming this is going to face outward. So because we have the right wing, I'm assuming this is probably the right nacelle. There's no markings or anything of that nature. And it doesn't indicate in the instructions as there being a left and a right to these, but let me check. And we're doing 35 millimeter screws. Okay, so we're going to take our nacelles, and we're going to attach them to the bottom of the wing. Okay, so we needed to make sure everything is plugged in, and the leads are kind of tucked down in here, the battery leads. So we want to carefully bring those out. The nice thing about this is that these can stay on, but of course if you need to disassemble them at the field you could, but I don't see anyone taking these off once they're on, to be honest with you. All right, so we want to go ahead and lay this to the side. As you can see, let's go ahead and insert our lead. All right, friends, as we continue our update on the build of the HSD Jets 747. So the issue we were having was mounting the nacelle to the wing, and the problem was the opening that was here and the stock opening that is here is not big enough. It doesn't allow the accommodation of these wires here. The issue is you've got these really long leads here, which they really should use shorter leads, so this wouldn't be as much of a problem. But you've got long leads here and a long lead here, and it doesn't fit in the hole here, and it especially doesn't fit in the stock slot. So after playing with it, well, first I reached out to HSD Jets. They informed me you're going to have to cut away some foam, both in the nacelle and in the wing. So after playing with it, I came up with some measurements. So for the wing, you've got to cut away about 15 millimeters. That's from here to here. And then for the nacelle, I found you had to cut about 17 millimeters, a distance of 17 millimeters from the front screw to the line. That needs to be removed. And then that allows these wires to not only fit in the hole here, but they can wrap around and fit in the slots here. So you have to do that, okay? So that's pretty much it. We were able to get it fit on the other wing, and it looks great. So let's see if we can get this left wing taken care of. More to come. All right, friends, you can see we've got our nacelle attached. So opening up the nacelle and the foam on the nacelle and the foam on the wing work quite well. and just make sure it's good and firmly screwed in place, because obviously you don't want these coming loose. So, all right, let's go ahead. We're going to put our nacelles on our middle wing section, and more to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, you can see we got the nacelle on, no cutting needed. Took a little finagling of the wires, but we got it right in. They actually made the openings deep enough and wide enough to easily fit the wires. So we're going to go ahead and work on the right side over there, and more to come. All right, friends, you can see we've got our nacelles on our center wing section. Once again, this worked out really well. No need to remove any foam. The openings were just right for the wires, so it worked out really well. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and mount our center section to the fuselage. All right, friends, more to come. All right, friends, we got our center section in place, and very straightforward, nothing complicated there. You've got two 130 millimeter screws here and in the middle, and then 95 millimeter screws in the back. So very straightforward. I will say that when it gets to be this big, you're definitely going to need a second person to help you flip it over, because it is a beast. All right, friends, more to come. All right, friends, I thought I'd give you a quick shot of it upright with the center section in place. Give you a rough idea of how she looks. We're going to put the wings on in just a second, but she looks great. I mean, you really just don't fathom the actual size of this thing unless you're standing here, but it is huge. It is really big. Definitely among one of the biggest jets on the market. All right, friends, more to come. All right, friends, so you can see on the inside here, what we've got is we've got our multi-pin connector here. This is for all of the leads in the nose of the plane. And then we have another connection. Let me zoom in a little bit. Right there, whoops, there we go. You can see the other connection right there. And that is for the other servos in the rear of the plane, for the rudder and for the elevator. So we're gonna go ahead and get everything powered up so we can get the landing gear down, and more to come.